Hey guys, what's up? I decided to do a quick video on different builds you can do with the Demon Hunter Sentry build. Um, these builds revolve mainly around the different weapons you use and either using Tasker&Teos or using a Cindercoat in in place of it. So I'm going to quickly go over the builds first. I've already cleared some of this rift so I can have some time to talk without getting interrupted. Uh, yeah. So the Chain and Bolter build is best used with Tasker and Theos rather than Cindercoat. I have a Cindercoat on right now, but it's better to use Cindercoat with Tasker and Theos because most of your damage will be coming from the sentries, and you're not going to be spamming too many cluster arrows. You can use this um, with Cindercoat too, and if you don't have a good pair of Tasker and Theos, it's perfectly fine. Like I'll show you that it really is. It's pretty good even with just using a Cindercoat. Um, so yeah, essentially what you do with this build is you just lay down traps, put down sentries, try to shoot as many cluster arrows as you can. Always make sure you have enough hatred for the next sentry, and you just use the spike traps to keep taunting guys. Hopefully into nice little clusters so your sentry and cluster arrows can do their work on them. This build is really good for keeping you safe. You can even sometimes skip out. Like I'm not using a Perfectionist right now. So you can get a little more damage. Whichever damage passive you really want to use is up to you with this build because it does keep you a lot safer than some of the other builds. It's pretty easy to use too because you just always have a taunt pretty much. Okay, I shouldn't run into that. See, I die sometimes when I'm trying to explain stuff. But yeah, you always have a taunt that can save you. And as long as you don't run into stuff like I just did, you're gonna be pretty safe. Yeah, so this is my first kind of build and idea for different ways. I'll show you one that doesn't use a Bombardier's Rucksack here in a second. In fact, I'll do that right now. And the second one you can do is you can use the Calamity in your offhand and use a high damage other one-hander. Like I'm using this Balefire Castle just because it rolled fairly high damage. And then you use the Calamity. And for this build, you don't need Bombardier's Rucksack because you never have enough time to get out the 3 sentries anyways. You'll kill the mobs before you get above 3 sentries. The sentries are still, really, really vital to your build. But for this build, I highly suggest not using Tasker and Theos and using a Cindercoat because you are going to be spamming Cluster Arrow a lot more in this build. Like, you have a lot more directed damage and you don't completely depend on your sentries to do all your damage. See, like, I didn't even have enough time. Those were elites right back there. Did not have enough time to get out all my sentries. Like, I kind of blotched it and couldn't get out one exactly what I needed to, but I would have only gotten 2 out anyways. So, the benefits of using this build is, well, for one, you're a lot better at killing goblins when there's a room full of guys because you actually have directed damage. You don't have to completely depend on your sentries. And you can also kind of, like, direct where the damage is going a little bit better than if you're just using sentries. Oh, fucking hell. I keep running into rooms. See, I'm not being very careful. Yeah, you have a lot more directed damage, and you never really have enough time to get out the sentries. And like doing a cooldown sentry build just doesn't work. I really, really, really did try it, but I was never able to really, really make it work. Like it just wasn't as good. It's simply like I don't really know how to put it any other way. It's bad. It's a bad build. You don't really want to use it. This is kind of annoying. Sentries are really nice for this type of situation when it's really hard to get into a room yourself. But yeah, using the Calamity is really, really nice. And this build right here is really great. And I just died again. But this build is really, really good in parties that can kind of carry their own weight because you'll never have enough time to get out all the sentries anyways. So if you're in a really good party and they kill the mobs, like, you know, fairly quickly, you don't need to have Bombardier's Rucksack. It's not necessary to use that rucksack. You could even use Archfiend arrows, if you wanted to. Oh my god, I just got another Calamity. That's funny. Hopefully it's a little better than my last one. But yeah, so this is just another idea for a build. Then I'll show you what you can also do. You can also, in parties, sometimes I'll do this. If the party can't really carry its own weight too well, I'll do this build. One-hand Calamity for the group DPS of the the thing, and then you still can put down as many sentries as you want because you won't be killing the mobs anytime fast if the party can't really carry its own weight and you're doing most of the carrying. So this is a really good build that can like handle like any type of situation basically. And for this build, you're definitely going to want to use Tasker&Teos over Cindercoat because your sentries are going to be like your main damage. So essentially when you're using Bombardier's Rucksack, you want to use Tasker&Teos. When you're not using Bombardier's Rucksack, and you're doing the 2 one-hander builds, you don't want to use Bombardier's Rucksack. So let me go repair really fast. I'll ID that Calamity too for you guys. It'll be, I guess, a YouTube Calamity. That's pretty lucky that I got a Calamity during a YouTube video. But anyways, yeah, it's just exploring different options. Let me show you how this build kind of plays out. Sorry that I've died a few times, but it is, like, I get a little lag when I'm doing fraps, and I also get, like, it's kind of hard talking. And this is a pretty crowded rift.
Need more time.
So, yeah, I don't really like this build for solo play, especially when you're not using Unity or anything, because you don't really have any way of saving yourself. Yeah, see, like, I just, like, right there, I just totally died. Like, there's nothing I could really do. I didn't kill the mobs fast enough. It doesn't really work out for solo play. But it does, if you just trust me on, it does really help, it is really good in group play.
I need more hatred to do that.
And all my builds also use Reaper's Wraps. Reaper's Wraps are important for every single build. You have to have Reaper's Wraps to make any of these builds work. You can't use Strong Arm or I don't know what else you'd be using in place. Because you can't fit Augs into, into a build. So, not really sure what else you'd be using. And sentries do proc Calamity, but only their missiles, like their actual like main attack. Proc. So my favorite build for solo play is probably. Now I'll just talk about like what I think of the builds and like which one I think is personally the best. So it's kind of a toss-up for me. It's more of a toss-up for me than other people, I think, between using Cindercoat and using Tasker&Teos. Like, I think the Tasker&Teos is better against some mobs, like mobs you have to run away from a lot. But if they're easy mobs that you don't have to run away from, you can kind of just stand still and cluster arrow, then I think Cindercoat is better. Then use, yeah, Cindercoat's better. So it really depends on the mobs for which one I really think is better. I think Tasker&Teos is definitely the safer choice. So if you have a good pair of Tasker&Teos, like, you know, definitely use them. But if you don't have a good pair, using a Cindercoat is definitely a good option. Like, it's not bad. It really is not bad at all. Like, you go through mobs really fast. The extra fire damage, the reduction of fire cost is really great too. Let's see if I can get the Rift Guardian, just so I can quickly show how I fight Rift Guardians. Solo play and group play, I do the same thing. So, let's try to get this guy really quickly. It's also really nice using a Cindercoat because then you have, you can tumble more than what you could using other builds, because you can use Trail of Cimbers and it's actually less of a cost than using Volt Tumble. Just the nice thing about using
Go.
Cindercoat is that you generally have more hatred and you don't have to worry about it as much, even though I'm completely out of hatred right now. No one has dropped a health bow for a while. Just want to use my wolf. But for solo play, I really, really do like the Channon Bolter just because of that taunt. Because you have no other forms of CC. There's no one else in your party that can really do CC. So having that that taunt is really, really, really nice for solo play. It's also good in group play, too. It's not bad in group play. So for Rift Guardians, I always do the same thing. I start off with Calamity, and then I'll either switch to my Manticore, which I don't have a rune in this time, so I'm just going to switch to this. And if I'm doing the 2 one-handers, I'll shoot him once with the Calamity to apply the dot or whatever, and then I'll just do this. Because the Rift Guardian is one place where you can actually have enough time to get out all your sentries with the Bombardiers. You always have enough time to get out all 5 sentries, and it's totally, totally worth using Bombardiers against the Rift Guardian. See, I kill him pretty fast. Got another pair of gloves. And yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions about how to run your build or like, you know, what you think is good, just let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna ID that Calamity really fast. I'll ID it on this YouTube video, just for shits and gigs. See, ooh, it is better than my my other Calamity. Yeah, it's got some fit on it too. I can drop that hatred regen for a socket. I don't really like the monsters kills, but whatever. Yeah, so I just got a better Calamity, so good. Alright. Yeah. Guess this is the end of the video. Sorry if this video is kind of shitty, but this is my first YouTube video. I hope to make more in the future. I'll see you guys later.